Alright, this is Kane with Luke Kane Outdoors. Boy, do I have something to show y'all. So let's jump on into the video and get to talking about it. Alright guys, so hopefully the audio quality is better in this video than it was in the first video with the bait tank build. Like I said in that video, I'm still learning to do the recording, the editing, and cutting, and all that stuff that goes into these videos, and hopefully I get better at it, and hopefully it's sooner than later. But today, what I wanted to do was just do a short video of a honest, non-biased first impressions review of a couple of rods, of a brand of rod, I guess, in particular that I've been eyeballing for a while now. And I finally have a couple sitting here, thanks to my amazing wife. She decided to give me some for Father's Day, and I'm really glad she did. But jumping straight into it, it's the Mad Katz series rods. It is this is the Smash. I'm assuming by the colors it's because of Hulk Smash. You got the purple and green. But I'll tell you right out of the box, one thing I noticed is I couldn't find any blemishes in these rods. I'm sure there's some in there that's not visible to the eye, but overall quality of these rods, just first glance at them, is amazing. Of course, it's the S-glass style rod. A lot of these newer Catfish rod manufacturers are going to that S-glass and carbon fiber mixture. That's what these are. This rod in particular is the 7'6" medium heavy action rod, and I tend to stick to that medium heavy because I do a lot of flathead fishing too. I don't do as much bumping. I guess you could use it as a bumping rod, but if I'm bumping, I usually use a heavy. Flatheads, if you flathead fish, they kind of skeptical on the bites, and that soft tip gives it a little bit more time for them to get hooked. These rods have the stainless eyes on them, stainless steel eyes, and every eye is, I believe it's triple wrapped, is what I read on there. They're triple wrapped. Everything seems to be coated really well. No flakes, no chips, no scratches or anything, which you wouldn't expect that to be in a product just because it got shipped to your house. But I have gotten them out of the box before, other brand rods, and them immediately start flaking or chipping on the coating. This is a 10-in-1 guide eye, so you got 10 eyes, you got your one on the end there. And then they also have the aluminum rail seats, which I've already took the plastic off of this one. I was so excited when I got the box, I couldn't wait. I should have saved it for an unboxing video, but I couldn't wait. I've been wanting these for a while. But it's got the aluminum rail seats on it. They got a couple of plastic washers in there to help you kind of lock that down. And I'm telling you, when you lock it down against something, even if you run this all the way up and you lock it down, they're there. They're not like the plastic rail seats. And that's something I've had a lot of issues with in the past, is the plastic rail seats. They tend to always work themselves loose. I put zip ties on them. I've actually put some silicone on the threads just to keep them backing off. But this one, I don't think I'm gonna have that issue. The EVA foam, it's very nice to the hand. It fits well. It's not too bulky. The cut groove in it's soft on your hands too. This is more of the quality that I put, of like HydroTurf that I put in the boats. A lot of these rod manufacturers, they advertise EVA foam, and to be quite honest with you, they're junk. This one here is pretty nice. I really dig the color scheme. That's something I really like about Mad Katz, is they've got just about any color to fit you, whatever your color combination may be. But as far as Mad Katz themselves, what really drew me to them was their message. They love to practice CPR, and I'm big on that too. I believe our trophy fish ought to be turned back, especially for genetic purposes if we want to keep bigger fish in our rivers and lakes. You know, I think that's a very good message to put out there. Another thing that drew me to Mad Katz is they have a lifetime warranty. I mean, you gotta love something, and you gotta love a company that's gonna stand behind that warranty. And from everybody that has talked to me about these rods in the past, they've always said that, you know, their warranty is hands down. They'll replace it if it needs to be replaced. So I guess all that's left as far as these rods go, you know, is to get some action on start catching some fish with them and see how they do, how they hold up to general wear and tear, you know, being taken in and out of the boat, in and out of rod holders. You know, rod holders typically, I get some wear on the foam of my rods. I've got some Catfish Pro rods that actually have some wear on the grips itself, but that's from the rod holders, you know, sitting there shaking up and down on the boat. You know, I don't take them out of the rod holders when I take off. I just leave them in there, and I'm sure they're bouncing when I hit waves and everything else. But one thing I have had in the past with other rod manufacturers, other rod brands, is the eyes. I've had them break. I've had them come off. And I'm not sure why. I'm sure it's just general wear and tear. I don't abuse them by any means, but I have had it happen, especially the tips. That is one thing that gets really aggravating over time, is the tips of them breaking. Now, I've seen guys slam these and tailgates and everything else. I'm not going to do it with mine. I mean, these were a gift from my wife. You know, maybe one day I'll buy another one and we'll do a full-blown torture test. I'm actually going to buy some more for myself, but we have a tournament coming up September 12th. We're going to fish a small tournament here, and it's a rod and reel only tournament, no bank poles or anything. We fished a bank pole tournament about a month and a half ago. We fished it. Didn't get to place in it, but you know, we had a good time fishing. Caught several fish. You know, it was hard fishing, and congrats to the guys that ended up, you know, winning that tournament. But this next one, I'm hoping that we have a whole new rod lineup. I'm going to take all of my Catfish Pro out. I'm going to take all of the B&M rods out. I'm not going to use them this time. I'm going to use just Mad Katz, I think. I may change my mind, but we'll see how that goes. I would like to put as much time in these Mad Katz as I can, you know, and try to see how they're going to hold up. I haven't found a reel that I really want to put on yet. I've been told that PC Fun's making, I believe it's called a 400 series reel there. The 400 series reels are lower profile, I believe, is what I've noticed in some of them. I use the Lew's XL quite a bit as far as my reels go. I tend to actually stick to that Lew's XL. However, I have been opening up the options to expand my horizons a little bit with them, and I may try that PC Fun 400 series reel. But over time, I mean, Catfish rods have come a long way, and I think this S-glass and carbon fiber mixture has really changed the game up. I grew up, you know, using the Berkeley Big Game or the Shakespeare Tiger Cat, things like that. I grew up using those rods, and there's nothing wrong with them. They're a great budget-friendly rod, of course. Caught several fish on them when I was younger. None of them can compare though to this one here. This was my first one I ever started catfishing with my granddaddy. It's a Zebco 33 Platinum, and I'm sure many of y'all got one. I wish I could go back and catch all the fish I've caught with this rod, catch them one more time. It's a fun little rod to use. You know, they're real flimsy. They don't have much backbone to them. But funny thing about this one, I actually lost this rod. Me and my grandpa, we were fishing off the dock at our Gibson County Lake here when I was about 11 years old, and he had just bought me this rod and reel. He had bought it for me, and I had it leaned up against the dock, and a fish actually pulled it in the water, and I lost it. I was tore up about it, but we went back the next morning, and my granddad actually took me that afternoon and bought me another Zebco 33, and it was just a regular one. And while I was fishing, I had a fish bite that rod, or bite my bait, you know, and my rod started bending. Well, I pulled that fish in, and I noticed there's another line attached to it. Now keep in mind, we're fishing off the same dock. There's another line attached to it. This fish is entangled in it. And I pull on the line, and something pulls back. And believe it or not, I snagged the line, and I got my pole back. Got that Zebco 33 Platinum back, and was able to reel it in and catch the fish that pulled the rod in the day before. I mean, it was a lucky day, but I'll always remember that, you know, growing up. I'll never forget, you know, what that rod means to me, and it'll never go anywhere. But they've changed even since then, you know, especially since this is my great grandpa's rod. He gave it to my grandpa, and it's just an old Johnson. This was made in the USA. It's a Sabre. I think this was either a 1969 or 1970, something like that. I've had it a long time too. Still works great. You wouldn't think so by looking at it, but you know, you can see how flimsy they are. You know, this is something I've noticed in cheaper rods, even in today's time. The eyes will rust, and this one's rusted. The eyes are rusted in it. You know, I'm sure they're just clear coated or got some kind of, I guess you call it like an alloy type material to make them eyes, but they're not all rusted. But I have noticed that even in newer brands of today, using cheaper products. But they've changed so much over time, and I find it interesting to see where they go next. You know, I think it's going to be pretty neat. They've got the new, Mad Katz has the new Legacy rods. That's going to be my next ones. I think I'm going to order the pink Legacy rods as soon as they're back in stock. That's going to be my casting rods. I think I might end up buying a couple more Mad Katz, and I think I'm going to buy them in the spinning rod to try. I've never used spinning rods while I fish. However, I think that they might be beneficial to me on my suspended rigs. I could be wrong, so we're going to have to give it a try. So another thing that these Mad Katz rods come with is a rod sleeve. Of course, they got the cool Mad Katz logo on them too. This was something I really liked, and none of my other rod sleeves have it, but they got elastic down here to wrap around the reel, so they stay down on the rod, and I really like that. But they did come with them. They were in the tubing, and the rods were covered in them, and that's probably why you don't see many blemishes on them. However, like I said, I just wanted to do an honest, you know, non-biased first impressions review of these rods, because if you're anything like me, if you can't put your hands on them, you have a tough time ordering something, and you know, no one carries these around here local to me, so I really had a hard time wanting to spend the money on them. I mean, now they're $100, but $100 is $100, so you know, if it's in your budget to step up and buy a nicer quality rod, I'd highly recommend them just off first impression. Now, of course, like I said, our true review, our true time is going to tell how these hold up. Now, I've watched a lot of other guys, they've had theirs for a while now, and no issues out of them. But these here definitely going to get some use. We're going to test them out. We're going to see if we can get some nice, good sized flatheads, blue cats on them, and just see how they hold up. You know, general use, you know, wear and tear, in and out of the boat, in and out of the bed of the truck, you know, things like that. That's what I'm looking for mainly, not just catching fish on them, but just overall general use of the rod and handling of the rod. I want to see how well it holds up. But you know, if you're kind of nervous about ordering them, you know, in my opinion, I think you'd be happy with them. I know I definitely am. And like I said, this ain't a paid promotion. Of course, you know, I ain't big enough for Mad Katz to pay me to promote something, but I wanted somebody, I know I would want somebody to give me an honest review that you could trust. Just the first impressions, you know, especially like I said, if you can't put your hands on them and feel them. And I think if you could and you were in the store and you could feel them, you'd be like, okay, I got to take it home. You just pick it up and you'd be like, wow, that's nice. It's really nice quality. It's very well balanced. I mean, that's kind of a lot of the first things I noticed. But anyways, I hope that helps you out some. You know, I think that if you are in the market for these rods, yes, I would purchase them. Now, if you're just getting started, if you're a younger kid, you haven't got to experience much catfishing. I kind of look at it like when you go to a guitar shop, you know, you don't spend as much as you can on the guitar when you first start. You kind of buy something that gets you there, and then when you get good at it, or you think you're good at it, then you step on up to the next level. I think I consider the same process for buying catfish rods, because I can't tell you how many times I've gotten discouraged. There's more days when I don't catch anything than there's days when I catch something, and that is why it's called fishing and it ain't called catching. But you know, if you're just getting started, you know, I highly recommend looking at, you know, Catfish Pro, and actually I think some of theirs are fixing to start touching the same price point. So they've got some cheaper ones on Mad Katz, I think about $79, but you can even go down to, they still make the Berkeley Big Game and Lou's Cat Daddies and things like that. So you can definitely get into the catfishing at a lot cheaper cost, you know, as far as by the time we put a reel on this is now, you know, it's going to be a $250 combo per rod, and I run anywhere between 6 to 12 rods most of the time. Each year, that's what I'll buy, 6 to 12 rods, and I'll replace them, give them away, you know, or I'll sell them if they're still in good shape. But these will never go anywhere. Like I said, they're a gift from my wife, and that's kind of why I got her to get the purple and green, because my other ones are going to be pink, and I want her to keep up with which one she got me. So anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching. I hope this helps. You know, if you're on the fence about purchasing some Mad Katz rods, I'd definitely go ahead and give it a try. You know, other than that, I mean, that's really all I got to say about them. I do appreciate y'all watching and bearing with some of the audio quality and some of the quality of the video, I guess. Hopefully, like I said, I'm going to get better at it. But anyway, I hope y'all have a good one. And like I said, I do appreciate y'all watching.